Hi everybody. In today's class, we shall look into file handling operations in C. So file handling are normally writing into text files and binary files. As a first lecture, we will just see the plain text files. So plain text files are those files that like you open in Notepad, VS Code or other similar text editors, right? And they do not require any kind of special programs. So on a given file, you can have operations like read and write, right? So reading from a file means the file is already saved with the contents and you try to read from that file. Writing to a file means the file does not exist. You create a new file, you add the contents to the file, and then you save the file. There is also a third mode when you deal with files, which is called as append mode. See, what does append mean in normal English? Append means to insert to the existing, right? So, for example, you have written your essay on, let's say, your favorite bird, and suddenly you remember that you need to add one more paragraph or one more information. So, what would you do? In such a case, you would open the file in append mode so that and locate the paragraph where you want to add the new paragraph, add the paragraph, keeping other contents same, and then save the file, right? So read mode, write mode, and then append mode. So we will go through them, each of them one by one. The concept is very easy. C provides a good number of functions that can be used for the same purpose. So as always, we will just directly look at the examples which I have prepared, and then we will see how do they execute and how do they work upon. Okay, so back to square one. Right, so we have our standard stdio.h and stdlib. Stdlib is required. I will tell you why. There is an exit function in the program. Exit function means if that particular line is encountered, like for example in this particular line number 17 which I have highlighted, if the program comes here, it will directly exit the execution. Okay, it won't go further. Even if the condition is true or false, it does not matter. It's like unconditional exit. Okay, just like emergency exit, you just exit it out. So let us see, in first program that we have main.c, we will try to read a file, and the file name is, let's say, input.txt. Okay, so now you can see there is a file pointer fp. Usually it's specified as fp, but you can use your own name, or you can say file star iatp, anything. So file here again is a file descriptor. So as of now, you just remember that whenever you want to access files, you have to use the file pointer. Okay, and then we define a character ch. Okay, so file pointer points to the file that we will be working upon. Okay, and then we have a character ch. Okay, so just let it be now there. So now let us see how do we read a file. You just check this pointer fp. So we do fopen and specify the input file and specify the mode, right? So input file means the execution of this command would mean three things. First, I want to open a file. Second, which file do you want to open? The name is input.txt. And third is the mode. Remember, I just talked about the mode. There are three modes: read, write, and append. Under read mode, you can just read the contents of a file. You cannot edit it, you cannot delete it, you cannot make changes to the file. Under write mode, you basically write to the files and save the contents. And under append mode, you basically update the file. Okay. So right now we are looking only at the read example. So fp is equal to open input.txt, right? So what happens? The compiler will search upon execution this file. Okay, when the program is under execution, it will look for this input.txt file and open into read mode, right? And fp is like a pointer to this file. Okay, so fp will contain a link to this particular file. Now what happens with FP? If you can see, FP is a type of pointer, right? We studied integer pointers, float pointers, etc. Right? So FP here in this case is a file pointer, right? And file pointer is like a link to the file, right? You can access input.txt in your future program using FP. Okay. So now every file handling program will have this kind of code always, right? These 4 lines. So what happens if FP is equal to null? See, now there can be 2 cases, right? Either the file exists or the file does not exist. So let us take the bad case first. If the file does not exist, right? So upon execution, there will be no pointer because this file does not exist. So FP will be stored as null. So FP we first compare with the string null. Null means the file does not exist. So see, if FP is equal to null, we say printf error opening file, and then we unconditionally exit. Why do we exit here? Because see, the file does not exist on your hard drive, right? So whatever your future code is about to read from the files, maybe display those contents on the screen, nothing will be executed. So we just unconditionally exit from the code, right? And now what is the second case? So let's say this is not null, which means the file did exist. Okay. So in that case, we just say success opening file. So we just open the file, right? So every file that you open, right? So here you open the file has to be closed. Fclose FP, right? So the pointer which stored the opening index, the opening address for this file has to be closed in the end. So whenever you are dealing with a file handling program, always remember you will have a file pointer. You open a particular file name, also specify the mode, and eventually you check if the pointer is null because that implies the file does not exist. And finally you close the file. Okay. Now if you see, this space is blank. Okay. So there is only one file which is called main.c. Right? So what will happen? This online compiler, when it will execute the code, it will return null because the file does not exist. There is no second file here. So let me just clear the drawings now. Let me just run the code. See, error opening file, right? Because there was no file in this portion. Now let me create a new file. What was our file name? So let me just copy this, Control C, new file, input.txt. Okay. Let me just have the contents. I have already made the contents. Let's say the content is India is my country. Now let us come to the main.c and now execute the file. Now if you see fopen input.txt, this input.txt is here, right? So the program now, the FP will not have a null value, so it will execute success opening file and it will just close the file again. See, success opening file, right? So this is how just you open the file and check whether the file exists or no. Any file handling program first requires that you check whether the file is exist or does not exist. And upon them, and if it is successful, only then you operate on the file. Now let us write another code. How do you read the contents of a file, right? Right now you have just opened the file. That's it. Okay. So again, stdio, stdlib, and now we have a file pointer, the same file, input.txt. Let me just rename it to small case because it is case sensitive. I am opening in the read mode. Read mode means I cannot write to the file, I can only read. As again, first we check whether this file pointer, which is opening this file, is null or not. If it is null, it implies that the file does not exist, right? Right? So we don't write the else part here because if the if is false, it will unconditionally exit the program, right? If it does not come under if, it automatically means that the file was existing. Now see what we are writing. We are writing while one, right? And we have this while loop here from line number 20 to line number 26. We have a while loop here, right? Now what we will do, we will read the file, right? What is the file contents? Input.txt. This is India is my country. So what we will do, we will read each and every character by character, right? So what do we do? Ch. What was ch? Ch was a character. Ch is equal to f get c and fp. So what was fp? Fp was the file pointer to this file, basically pointing to this particular location. So character is equal to this. So we are reading a single character, right? So basically you must be knowing the get c command, right? Get c is get character, a single character. So but whenever we are we are operating on files, we use f as the preceding word. Okay, so we will be reading character by character. Remember one thing, whatever C functions we have, like we have get as also, get string. So if you are using that with file, you will just use f get as. Similarly here, get C is there, right? So get character, normal C functions. When you append f to it, that means I'm operating on the files. Now again we see if ch is equal to EOF. What is EOF? End of file. So this is a special character which is known as end of file, that indicates that the file has reached the end, right? Because how do you identify the end of a file, right? It's not full stop. You can place 100 full stops at the end. So every file that you save on the computer has an end of file character to the end of the particular file. That indicates, okay, now I have reached the end of the file. So see what this will loop do, while one. So it will execute always, right? So it will read a character ch is equal to f get c fp, and if character is equal to end of file, right? So let's say I am on this file input.txt. So initially my character will be I. It will read I, store in ch. I is equal to end of file. No, we are not still at the end of file. So if loop won't be executed, what I do printf and then ch. Ch means right now the value of ch is I, right? It comes to the close of the loop and then again starts from the loop again. Again, what will be the character read? Now next character will be, because the file pointer now moves from this point to this point. Next character it will read as N. The next character it will read as D, then I, then A, then space, then I, then S, and so on. Finally, when it reaches at this particular point after full stop, so this position where my cursor is known as the end of file, right? So this particular loop will satisfy if ch is equal to end of file. So it will break. So as I had explained, the nearest loop where the break occurs will break. So the nearest loop is if loop. Okay. So what will happen? This printf will display character by character. Okay. Finally, we close the file. So let us just see how do we execute. So if you see, the file handling programs are very easy. Open the file, provide the file name, right? Provide the mode, read, write, or whatever you want to do. Check whether the file pointer is null. This is a static. So this code will always be there whenever you do file handling. Every program that you do, put these 3 lines. Okay. Connection lost. So let me stop. See, India is my country. Okay. So now if you want to see, let us do one thing. We will insert a slash n here, so that you actually get a feel that the file was being read character by character, right? Now did you see? INDIA space is also a character, is space my space country, right? So did you see, because we had used the word, we have used the function f get c. right? If we would have used f get s, the entire line would have been read in one shot. Okay, so we will come across those examples later. As of now, just see that f get c is used to read the file character by character, and where till when you have to read till you reach the end of file. You can also read partly, that we will also see later on, right? So I hope this example is very clear, right? So R is a read mode, and remember, in read mode, if the file does not exist, it won't create one. So let us say I say the file input.txt. So input2.txt does not exist, right? So the read mode will not create any new file. I am specifying this point here because in write mode it is the reverse. In write mode, if the file does not exist, it will create a fresh file, right? So there is another interesting mode which is known as read plus mode, right? So what happens in read plus mode is you can read as well as edit the file. Okay. So now we will say ki why do we require the write mode. So first let us just see the R plus mode and then we will get an idea. Okay. So I just wrote a comment. The file is not created. It does not exist any read mode. So again, same file pointer. We have a character and then we have input.txt. Right. So input.txt, the content is, I just writing here, India is my country. You can just verify once again. India is my country. Again, as I said, I will check whether the file pointer is null. If it is not null, I will again read it character by character. The same code that I wrote in the last time. So I am printing character by character, right? Now see what happens. So FP is the file pointer. So file pointer was what? In this case, input.txt, and it was read plus, right? So in read plus, you can actually write to the file. So just see this content, India is my country, and I am adding a new content here. See, what does printf do? Printf will print the contents on the screen, right? So what does printf will do? It will print the contents in the file and not on the screen, right? So all C functions, there are many C functions which are prepended by or prefixed by f, right? So fprintf means I am using fp. What did fp store? The pointer to the input.txt, and then I am having this particular text. So this means print this entire content, that is rainbow has 7 colors, into the file fp, right? But what is our mode? Read plus, right? So I can only add to the end of the file, right? This is a property, and what I'm doing, I'm just saying f close fp. Okay, so that is I'm closing the file pointer. Let us do one thing. I'm just closing this part here. Okay, just have a look at this input.txt. It is this file, and when I'm executing this code, eventually first it will display India is my country, then fprintf, it will write this to the file and then close it. So now the file will have rainbow has 7 colors added to it. You just have a look at it. Let me execute. Right, India is my country because this was the output of this loop. Then I did fprintf. So print into the file. So if you see, India is my country and rainbow has 7 colors. This happened because you use the R plus mode. Remember one thing. This only happened because you use the R plus mode. If I had used the R mode, right, let me do one thing. If I had used the R mode, just be very careful. See line number 10, right? I changed the R plus mode. Initially it was R plus, hence I could read as well as write. Now I will just keep R mode. In the R mode, it can only read the file. So my program will execute properly till now, till this point, line number 26. But my program will not be able to add this particular content. Let us restore the content to India is my country. Okay. And now let us write this. See FP, it is writing this particular string. But when you see FP is only read mode, right? So let us execute the code. See, it did not give any errors, right? And this is how at some points C does not perform so well. It should at least throw a warning that an attempt was being made to write into the code. So you may think that there are no warnings, no errors, but if you see the input.txt, there is no addition here because it was the R mode. Again, if I want to have R plus mode. So when I do the R plus mode, now I will be able to write, see, input.text is India is my country, and in main.c I am executing the code. Let us go and check. Rainbow has 7 colors. Now my original code had this thing. After adding to the file, I was reading the file once again. I started the debugger. What I do, as I saw, R plus, so reading and writing is possible. Then rainbow has 7 colors, so I'm closing the file and now again reading the same file. See, input.txt, and now I can just even open it in the read mode. And I am just reading it character by character. See, if you see this loop, this is same as this one only. Exactly same. Right? So I close the file pointer after writing the file and I again open the file with the same pointer and it can be used. It's just like I equal to 5 and later on you use I equal to 7. Again I'm reading character by character. So I can just use a printf reading the file again. Let me execute. Okay, so semicolon is missing. See, India is my country, and this printf I could have just done /n/n. Okay, so basically I executed the code twice, and hence this rainbow got in the file twice. Let us execute once again. See, India is my country, reading the file again, and India is my country, and rainbow has 7 colors. Right? So I hope you see the difference between read and read plus mode. So R mode will only keep on reading the files, it will not write anything, but R plus mode will read as well as update the file. So in this we just saw how to read a file, okay, and using the text format, right? So there is a format called binary format, but that we will see later on. And I hope you got the difference between R and R plus. So thank you.